I wanted to ask you about the title race, actually. Arsenal and City names are there. Tottenham, Liverpool's names there.
Yeah.
As your mind, as we're sort of getting now to like towards a third of the way through the season, how are you starting to feel about the title race now? Do you think the top three as it sits now, that's them? And do you think that Liverpool and Arsenal will continue to push City all the way?
To answer the first part of the question, nothing's. I came on before the season started, and I said to every YouTuber that City will win it, Liverpool second, Arsenal third. I've seen nothing this season in 12 games that's changed my opinion on any of that, if I'm honest. I'm not saying I'll be right, but for my opinion right now, I've not seen anything that changes my opinion on the top three. How close will Arsenal and Liverpool be to Man City is who knows. I think Man City will end up winning it by 8 points or so. I just think they're too good the flip side of the year. That's for me. But I think Liverpool and Arsenal are very, very close. I think Arsenal are a lot better organised at the back and with the holding midfield situation. I think Liverpool are much better in the forward areas in terms of goal power and options. Both of them have only lost one game, so they're doing very, very well. But I do think those three will pull away. If I'm honest, I do think those three will pull away. I think then you've got that little group in behind with Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, if Man United, if Chelsea start getting into there. And I think that little group will have to fight it out for the last Champions League spot and all of Europe. So nothing. I haven't seen anything that will make me that's made me change my mind. Nothing that's made me change my mind.
Interesting. Look, like nothing's changed my mind about my top three: Liverpool, Arsenal, City. City are still my favourites to win it. I still feel that it's weird, really, because I got called out by a lot of Liverpool fans on a video this week saying, well, you always talk about Liverpool nearly conceding, but we've only conceded the same amount of goals as Arsenal. And I'm like, yes, because you've got an absolute demon in goal of Alisson, who, in my opinion, continually saves you in those moments. I just think that the amount of opportunities teams kind of create against you is why I think you'd come third. I've still got Arsenal coming second, but I don't think they're going to be far behind Man City. And I think there's still, listen, if Liverpool go out and buy a world-class DM, for instance, in the January window, my mind might change. If Arsenal go and get Ivan Toney and he comes in and starts scoring, my mind will change. I still see City being the favourites for it as an example, but with Arsenal, there is just this element of, and for some Arsenal fans, they think this is it. They're not going to get any better. Do you know who Will Stewart is, the Spurs fan?
Yeah, he's on my show at 8 p.m. tonight. Yeah.
Cool. So Will was talking about, like, when he looks at the underlying stats with Arsenal, that he doesn't think they're going to improve from this point. I think with Arsenal, we've seen some scintillating stuff from City this season. We've seen Liverpool look brilliant this season. We haven't yet seen, in my opinion, Arsenal click as we did last year, and I still think that's to come. So I think a lot of people could end up changing their minds about where Arsenal come if they suddenly click and they go on the 5-10 game winning streak where they're battering teams again. And I felt like against Burnley and I felt against Sevilla that we just started to see the Martinellis and the Sakas get beyond their fullbacks, started to look more dangerous. So in terms
you need to see that against the better teams, though.
No, I agree. I agree.
Listen, I think Arsenal are a good team. I do. Honestly, when I say this, I feel like Arsenal fans think I say they're rubbish. I think Arsenal are a very good team. Just because I don't think they're Man City doesn't mean I think they're bad. I think it's going to be really. I could be wrong. You know what? Do you know what the worst that happens if I'm wrong, Terry? I'm wrong. It doesn't matter, right? That's the worst that happens. Yeah. I think that obviously, look, the next game is huge for City Liverpool at the Etihad, right? It's huge because what you can't let City do, you can't let them get a 4-point gap, 7-point gap. Do you know what I mean? Once they get the gap, you're done because then you're relying on Man City losing 3 or 4 more games. I think Liverpool and Arsenal will be, I think it's going to be like that the whole season, if I'm honest. I think there's not a lot between them. Look, there is definitely more to ask. There is more to come from Arsenal. Will and I disagreed on this on my show. We did a who's going to finish top whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we disagreed. He doesn't think that Arsenal are that good. And I said, listen, Arsenal are a good team. The one thing the one thing that I've said to you before, said to everyone before, is I just don't feel. I feel like it was there for the taking for Arsenal to close that gap. That's the one thing I've said constantly, and I like to think my opinion stays pretty true, like to myself, if that makes sense. I don't come on here week after week and change my opinion. For me, Arsenal, had they gone out and bought a striker, yeah, I don't mean any old striker. I mean, had they gone out and bought that goal scorer, bridge that gap a little bit. Had they gone out and bought a couple of options that meant that Saka doesn't have to play every God-given minute of football, I just think they missed a little bit of a trick not doing that. However, they've done so well, not even playing that well, and still one defeat and just tucked in behind. I think they're doing well. I don't think they look as good as or as convincing as last year. Whereas Liverpool obviously had a bad year last year from Liverpool's terms, have started the season well. They've had a couple of hiccups here or there, but they're doing better than last year.
Yeah.
I can't see anyone else being near them, those three. I can't. I think you look at Spurs. Have you seen Spurs' next 4 games?
Yes. Spurs' next 4 games are hard.
I can't see Spurs being there. I think Aston Villa are a good team, but I do think Aston Villa's away form won't allow them to be up in and around those guys come the end of the season. Brighton aren't good enough. Newcastle too far behind already in terms of the top 3 or 4. So for me, I can't see anything other than that top 3 pulling away soon. That's
I agree.
My opinion.
Sorry, I got distracted. There's an article that's just come out now that says that Everton will receive a 12 points deduction by the end of this week due to a breach in financial fair play. Commissioners have decided Everton will be bottom of the Premier League with 2 points. It's from a freelance journalist called Steve Brown, OBE. I don't actually know who he is personally. He's from Liverpool. Can
I address one thing, if that's all right?
Yeah,
a lot of the shows I go on, what I see a lot of people saying is whenever I'm talking about Man City, they say that I twerk for them. What I never understand about this is acknowledging who's the best twerking. Like, I could sit here right now as a football fan, Terry, and go, yeah, City are rubbish. They're not winning it. Then I look like an idiot. Then I look like a complete dismissive, delusional idiot.
Yeah, I get called it all the time. Like today, I called out VAR today, and the amount of people going, you're just defending Arsenal when twerking. I said 3 times in the video, it's nothing to do with Arsenal. It's to do with, it's actually more me calling out Man United not getting a penalty. Have you seen the VAR thing from that Newcastle goal where they state that, yes, we can see the hands on Gabriel, but there's no evidence that the push is hard enough to make him fall over.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, then where's the evidence that Højlund's grab was enough to spin Rodri 360 and make him fall down? So I'm calling that out and I go, you're just defending Arsenal. I'm like, it's not about defending Arsenal. It's about, I spoke about vacuum opinions. It's like in a vacuum, you've explained why that Newcastle goal should stand. But then we apply your logic thinking as to why it was right against multiple other decisions, and there's now holes in it. Because all they're really doing is trying to get away with that. They're not just trying to say, shit, we got it wrong. But you get called twerking, and that's what's happening to you here.
Do you know what I'd love?
City are the best, and saying they're the best is weird.
Do you know what I would love? This is the best thing for me. I would love it if everybody suddenly didn't support a football team, right? But had to watch the league. Imagine no one was allowed to support a team and had to watch the league and was asked, who's the best team in that league? You'd say that team, they're the best team.
Yeah.
Right? You would, wouldn't you? The problem is tribalism and biasness has ruined football debate, because anything you say, like, do I want to sit here and say Spurs can win the league? Of course I want to sit here and say it, Terry. It's not true. Do I want to sit here and say Arsenal win the league? Of course I don't. But I'll let you know if I think it's true. So I don't think that acknowledgement of the truth is twerking. You know what I mean? I feel like when I'm always asked about Pep Guardiola and say, yeah, he's the best. Oh, you're twerking for Pep Guardiola. Okay, who's better than him? Now, all of a sudden, give me a name, right? Let's just give me a name hypothetically that someone could say is better than Pep Guardiola.
Klopp.
Okay. Oh, you're twerking for Klopp. It's like, what are you meant to do? What are you meant to do?
Listen, it's all fun and games, but it's become a way of trying to detract from what somebody is saying by saying nothing. So if I make a point, which
Absolutely.
is, I think City will win the league because of X, Y, and Z, you're just twerking, bruv. That's not a response. That's not a debate. That's not an argument. That doesn't debunk what I've said. That's what that typically means is, shit, that's a point I can't debunk, or I have to agree is a correct point. I may not agree with somebody's, and this is maybe where I'm different. I may not agree with your opinion on something, but if I understand your logic and you hear me say this hundreds of times on shows, I go, I get where you're coming from. So, but that's missing in the world nowadays. I don't agree with what you think, but I understand why you think it, and that typically is more the point here. But if people feel like nowadays, if they admit understanding why you think what you think, they see that as an admission of, well, you're right, I'm wrong, which it never has been. But we live in a very strange era. This is a weird super chat, to be fair. It says, is it possible for a professor to fail a class, Sav? I mean, do you mean fail to fail their tests, or fail as in be shit at their job? What do you mean?
No idea what that's got to do with anything we've talked about today. Look, I mean, I have no idea, Chike, about this. I don't know where we're going with this. Is this to do with who fails, where they finish in the league? I don't know. Look, fail a class course. He's gone on to say in the chat, fail a class course. I don't. I
mean, of course he could. Of course he could. I mean, of course. I mean, if you do bad, he could foul you. I mean, I don't mean it rude, Chike. I love you, bro. But yeah, if you're not good at if you do a bad job in class, he can foul you. That's it. Ron's here says, the problem is, lads, many people just ain't mature, agreeing to disagree. Many people can't. But, bruv, it's immaturity, but we also live in a world now where, listen, I grew up. I'll openly admit, I'm typically speaking a Labour voter. Sometimes I haven't voted for them, but not voted at all, but I'm a Labour voter. But I have friends and mates of mine I grew up with that I know are conservatives, but they're still my mates. We live in a world now where I can't be friends with you because you voted for this, or I can't be friends with you because you listen to this music, or I can't be friends with... I've had a friend of mine, and not just with me personally, it wasn't specific to me, who doesn't come to our little friend gather. We normally gather 3 or 4 times a year as a group of friends. We went to school together. She and her husband don't come anymore because they're vegan, and because when we're there, we eat meat. But we're like, well, you ain't got to eat the meat. We'll cook. We'll make something for you. No, but you guys are eating meat, so we don't want to be around you. That's where I think it's... Listen, and I know these are very emotive subjects, but I feel like it's crept its way into football now, where if you don't think my manager's the best manager, I'm just going to say you don't know football, bruv. It's very weird to me. It's very weird to me, the way...
Look, listen, I get it, right? I understand that, people are emotionally attached to their teams. And listen, I mean, I'm emotionally attached to Tottenham, but after a while, you have to kind of go, okay, well, the truth is the truth. And yeah, big up Martin, who's one of my channel members. Big up Martin. Yeah, common sense, it's gone. What I don't understand is YouTubers are asked to go on to football shows, and then they're asked their opinion about a club, and then it's you're twerking. I don't know what else I'm meant to answer. If Terry says, do you know what I mean? If you say to me, Sav, who's going to win the Premier League? I don't know why I'm meant to say anyone other than Man City. And if I
hear you, I completely hear you. It's strange really to me. Now. People telling me to pause. I'm not going to pause. Firstly, I'm never going to say anything that's going to be crazy, because that isn't what I am. I'm just trying to point out that weird polarized thinking and being overly judgmental of people, whether it's about who they think that is going to win the Premier League, right down to whether or not they consume a burger, is strange to me. I was brought up to be a little bit different to that. And I just think the world's got a bit weird, if I'm being honest with you. I really, really do. This here says, common sense become a thing of the past. Yeah, we absolutely